globe-trotting chick back again for a juicy story this time. Well, maybe it's not that juicy, but it's my perspective on why these kind of countries can sometimes get a little exhausting for a solo female traveler. So I was having a really good day and just strolling around and taking my pictures, doing my thing, exploring the Medina. Everyone's been super, super nice so far. And then I don't even know how, but this old guy, probably like 61-year-old or something like that, 60, 65, just kind of starts talking, and pretty soon all of a sudden he's showing me things and I'm suspicious, but he's like, oh, you don't have to pay me, you don't have to give me any money. And then pretty soon he's showing me another thing and another thing. And now, initially what started off as just a friendly chat now turns into a bit more of an hurried experience where he's just trying to show me the sights, and he's kind of rushing me along at this point. What really irritated me, I think I was okay for the most part until he put his arm around my shoulders, and that really bugged me because I don't know about you, but when I'm traveling in foreign countries, I really don't like physical contact. I'm very protective of my personal space. Maybe it's because I am from India and that kind of barrier is always up around me. Interestingly enough, it doesn't happen in the US, but anywhere else in the world, I really don't like people invading my personal space. So until the point that he put his arm around my shoulders, I was happy to think that, hey, I'm probably going to owe this guy some, dirhams at the end of this. And then when I started to tell him that I was kind of done and I wanted to walk around on my own, he just wouldn't let me be. And it comes down to the whole money negotiation, and he's not happy with what I'm willing to give him, even though right off he said, you don't have to pay me. But then he said, you can give me whatever you want, whatever you wish. And then now pretty soon it's a matter of, I'm not happy with what you're giving me because I've spent all this time. And what made it worse was he was 61, asthmatic, and clearly struggling. Honestly, I don't know if I'm more irritated with him or myself for having gotten talked into that after just having a great morning and after my whole talk about just feeling confident enough that, I wouldn't get suckered into falling for one of those scams. But, oh well, that's the pleasure of tourism and travel, and especially solo travel, because had I been traveling with a gentleman partner or a husband, so-called husband, no one would have bothered us. But this happens to me all the time when I'm traveling alone. It's just a little annoying, but I tend to focus more on the really fun interactions that I have, which was me interacting with some kids and showing them my iPhone and taking pictures of them and them giggling and having a really good time with that. Or just talking to women who, again, if I'm traveling with a man, the women will never come forth or talk to me, and they seem to be very shy. But when I'm on my own, I tend to have these really amazing encounters with women. So I'm not going to let this spoil it for me. I'm going to enjoy my mint tea over here and take a bit of a break from all of that. So just thought I'd share that story while it was still fresh in my mind. All right, more to come. Hey you all, I'm having my mint tea at a street side stall over here. Absolutely loving it. Gonna continue on my little talk about solo travel for women. Yesterday I was so frustrated with this one particular guy who just would not leave me alone, and when I came back from that experience I recorded just the frustration that I was feeling right there and then. And now that I've kind of had a chance to sleep over it a little bit, I wanted to talk a bit more about what women encounter when they're traveling solo. A lot of unwanted male attention, obviously, and if you try to be nice or polite, in these cultures it usually doesn't work, so you just have to be kind of distant and just not make eye contact, not respond. If somebody says hello, it's probably best not to even engage. And like I said yesterday, I was okay with the guy showing me around since I got talked into it already. But what frustrated me about it was when he started putting his arm around me, and he did that several times, even though I was kind of, my body language was like, listen, stay away from me. So that was frustrating, and it's not normal in these cultures to make physical contact with women. I'm from India, and I know in India with a strange woman, you would never cross that personal boundary, you would never touch her. So that's the thing that I struggle with, and my natural tendency is just to be very friendly and make conversation, but in these cultures it has always gotten me into a bit of a tough spot, and I find myself kind of trying to find a way to back out. So this morning I'm walking around by myself, not really making eye contact, not even responding to the guys who say hello, and that really goes against the grain of who I am, because I'm just super friendly when I'm traveling. But here I am right now, surrounded with a bunch of women, and we're just drinking tea and talking, and that's super fun. So another thing that I wanted to just mention is the challenges that female travelers encounter. Most men would never even think about that. Most guys, when they set out to travel independently, they'll just hit the road. There's no care in the world. I can't imagine that a man actually thinks about his own physical safety. He probably thinks about getting mugged or whatever, but not from a point of view of like physical violations. Whereas when a woman travels, it's just automatic. Her guard is up, she has to be very careful. If she lets her guard down, she could just end up in a really thick spot, thick soup actually. So and the other thing is, how you dress is super important. Again, when I'm in these cultures, this is an Islamic country, I find it just better to cover my head. I always carry a shawl with me. I wear long sleeves, long pants. I don't like to expose my body, and that's just something that helps, because men tend to respect you more if you're appropriately dressed. I also respect the customs and the culture of Islam when I'm traveling in Islamic countries. In the Middle East, sometimes there's some countries where you have to actually wear a burqa, just because that is what the local women would do, and you have to respect that part of it as well. But here, just a scarf around the face helps, and yeah, so that's kind of some of my thoughts on solo female travel. If you set out earlier in the morning, it's easier because the shops aren't open and the guys haven't gotten comfortable enough to harass you. Make sure you're clothed appropriately, not showing a lot of skin. I know the pictures look really great when you're wearing dresses and all that kind of stuff, but again, if you have a man with you or some kind of a guide, it's probably better. But what happens is it makes guys think that this is normal and they can get away with treating you that way. Like, for example, the man that I had this encounter with yesterday, at the end of it, I finally told him that it's not okay for you to touch me. And he said, oh, I'm just being friendly. And I said, no, it's not being friendly. And you wouldn't do that with a Moroccan woman, so please don't touch me. And he said, well, I could do it with a Moroccan woman too. And I said, no, that's not true, because I'm from India and I know better than that. So just be careful, because it does tend to set a trend for other female travelers. And I'm not saying that that's okay, but that's just how it is, unfortunately. Thirdly, just I think being a little reserved is better. Again, I'm from India and I'm super friendly, and I have to keep reminding myself, be reserved, be shy, just kind of keep to yourself a little more. And fourthly, don't stay out too late. Like, if you're out and about late at night without an escort, without male companionship, then you're bound to get into trouble. So when I'm traveling solo, I'm always done by about 6 o'clock. As soon as the sun sets, I may go take a quick peek in a well-lit area with a lot of people, but I don't really stay out late and explore the city on my own. Those are just simple rules of solo travel. So I hope that helps. And this is, again, just my opinion. I'm not telling anyone what to do, but that's just my experience with travel. So lots of love. Sending you hugs from Morocco. Signing off. Bye.